reports and correspondence. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. We are ready to roll. First up, Robert's.
Good morning, and thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide the board with options regarding the renewal of a Ministry of Transportation and Transit license of occupation located at the end of Roberts Creek Road, just before the pier there. Some recommendations are provided on page 1 of the report for committee consideration, and staff are here to answer any questions.
Thank you. And I just had a quick question. 5-year term, did the terms on these kind of license of occupation used to be longer, or was I just not noticing the last time it came through?
Thank you for the question. Yes, there have been some that are longer. I believe that it's case-by-case basis. So, thank you.
Thank you. Director Bax.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, staff, for bringing this forward and staying on top of the license of occupation for our community. I would wonder if we can, in 5 years' time, look at asking them for a longer license of occupation. Maybe we can get more of a discount. $500 for 5 years seems like a no-brainer. And so I would like to move the recommendations as they appear on page 1 of this report.
And I see a seconder. Are there any further questions, concerns, comments, rants? Seeing none, I'm calling the question. All those in favor? That passes. Thank you very much. And on to OCP Renewal Project Update number 7. And over to Manager Jackson.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide a monthly update on the OCP renewal project. The report contained engagement responses as of September 3rd, and now that the Phase 1 engagement has closed as of September 14th, as promised in the report, staff have a brief verbal update on the number of responses that were received. So after 14 in-person events, Team OCP had 765 individual conversations with interested community members. And since this report was published and the final communications push was put out, a surge in responses was actually received. And the final totals are 621 online questionnaire responses. So that's an increase of 208 from what's in the report. And 670 points on the online map, which is an increase of 210 responses from what was published in the report. As noted in the key project next steps section of this report, the finalized what we've heard report is scheduled on the October Electoral Area Services Committee meeting, where we'll get all of the final details, and staff are here and available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're all looking forward to the results of the engagement. In the meantime, do I see any questions? Director Gabius.
Thank you, Chair. I just want a huge thank you to staff for all the engagement that happened this summer. That was like a huge endeavor. So thank you for all the work you did, and great to see the results. So many conversations were had, and I'm also really looking forward to the results of that engagement. 2 quick questions. One, is the map still up, and can people still participate, input feedback through the map? Through the chair?
I actually haven't checked since the engagement closed, to be honest with you. It's been busy getting ready for committee. We can have a check and make it clear on the webpage if that is in fact the case. But at this point, what we've heard is closed, so we're now getting that report ready for October. So we wouldn't be adding any feedback that was received, even if it is still live. Thanks.
Okay, just a quick question about the map. Would it be possible to leave it up, but just lock it so that people can't add more to it? I was just curious. It'd be interesting to go and take a look.
Certainly, we can take a look and make sure that there's a record of what was received up there. Thanks.
That would be lovely. Thank you. Alternate Director Nguyen.
Thank you, Chair. Just follow up on that map, and I have a question as well. It is very helpful if the map was to stay active, well, not for further input, but it's very helpful to go through and click on them and see what the actual comments are. And so if you can keep it there, it would be great. Thank you. And my question is, in the overall process, are you using a particular framework, or maybe late in to ask this question, or different lenses, such as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or things that come out of UNDRIP, or I know other municipalities and regional districts do use different lenses and different frameworks to guide them through this OCP renewal. So is there any use of those tools that may be out there, such as SDGs?
Thank you for the question. So there's a long list of information that will seed into the technical aspects of the report that you'll see on an upcoming agenda. When we get to both, after the What We've Heard report, we have a list on page 9 of your agenda of all of the next steps that are coming. And so when we get to the technical summaries piece, which is in November, we'll be seeing the list of documents that are there and included to be looked at and considered. And of course, this is all as per the board's direction as well. So there's a number of documents that have been approved through SCRD's history that we are bringing back for consideration as part of the OCP. A lot of good work done in the past, and looking to collate that with this OCP. But of course, there will be chances for updated community input and board input as to how and when that information is used. Thanks.
Thank you. Director Bax.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your work. My community has a group that's very interested in the OCP update, and my OCPC will be working with the Community Association in trying to create a town hall event in February during your second phase of public input. And I just wanted to give you a heads up that they will be contacting you and looking for staff to attend this to provide information when that happens. They're digging in very deep, and they have some great input. But there is are we receiving? So we're receiving. We have 2 reports for decision coming in November and December. And can you tell me, give me an idea of what the decisions, what it is we're going to be deciding at that point?
So at a high level in November, the report for decision is basically an OCP table of contents, if you will. It's a high level sort of skeleton framework of what a new integrated OCP can look like, both based off of integrating DAPR, the board's direction on overall scope, and the engagement feedback that we've been hearing, as well as the technical studies that can help inform the document. In December, the Phase 2 engagement plan will have sample materials as what we'd be going out to the community with in January. And so this is all a very carefully stepped process to make sure that we can launch Phase 2 engagement in January. And so at that time, we can certainly, consider the board's feedback on the engagement plan and anything that we're looking to do differently, or consideration of what's been done and successes learned. So we look forward to bringing that report forward to you in December.
So should my community group wish to have staff included in their town hall, and they would need to be included into this December decision point. Is that correct?
Thank you for the question. I've taken note of their interest, and so if they reach out to me, we will consider what that looks like and how it can be fit into the larger engagement plan for the board's consideration. Thanks.
Yeah, for the most part, they do pay attention to these things. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
I also have a question. So our APCs are meeting next week to review the staff report on one big OCP. And then they have a workshop on October the 1st. So how does the APC feedback get rolled into this engagement? And do they have their own special track, or are they public engagement?
Thank you for the question. As we've noted in our reports, the APCs are seen as local context advisors. So the answer is, in short, yes, they do have a bit of a special track. And it's also, again, the reason the table is laid out in the report is because of the tight timelines. And so that engagement session with the OCP for their workshop is timed so that we can still capture some of that feedback in the October What We Heard report. Thank you.
Great. Director Gavious.
Thank you, Chair. Comment and a question. First, a comment. As we get deeper in the process and it becomes more tangible and we're seeing more of these updates, just really strikes me how an incredible project this is and how a big investment in the future of our communities this is. So like that's, I'm really excited that we're doing this, that we're looking forward to the future so we can plan better. So thank you for all the work. And then my question is that I just want to follow up on the motion that was made about exploring legal tools to protect the coastal Douglas fir moist maritime biogeoclimatic zone. Will there be some opportunities to get updates on the progress of this exploration?
The answer to that, in short, is also yes. So when we bring forward the technical report in, I gotta double check my dates here, November, for the technical summaries and considerations, that will be part of the information that we'll be looking at. So again, there's a whole number of studies, so we want to make sure that they're all transparent and out there and considered holistically. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is just a little suggestion for the October 1st workshop. The OCP is complex and it interacts with a lot of other documents like the zoning bylaw and the subdivision servicing bylaw. So maybe having a little list even on the wall to show what kind of decisions or regulations fit under which umbrella, so that if we get down a rabbit hole on the OCP and it's really something that is not specific to the OCP, we can point over and say, well, that actually belongs to the subdivision servicing bylaw, which is going to be reviewed after the OCP is passed. You know, just to help people keep the issues clear, because it really is a hugely complex thing. And if it's a provincial decision too, we need to know that so that we can understand it better. I'm not sure if we're ever going to understand it thoroughly, but we can try. Okay, last call, directors. Any further questions before our workshop with our OCP, our APCs on October the 1st? Not seeing anything. So thank you very much, Manager Jackson. And we're going to move on to the next item, which is frontage waiver for 13685 Lee Road.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The purpose of this frontage waiver is to exempt one lot in an 8-lot subdivision from the minimum 10% frontage requirement. The application was previously received by the Electoral Area Services Committee and was forwarded to the July 28th Area A APC meeting. And they recommended issuance of the frontage waiver. Staff also recommend issuance of the frontage waiver and are available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I'm going to look over to Area A, Director Lee.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendations on page 1 of the report.
And I see a seconder. Any further questions, observations? I'm glad your APC dug in. Okay, calling the question. All those in favor? And that passes. Thank you very much. So, next one up. Frontage waiver for lots 15 to 17 on King Road. Staff?
Yes, the purpose of this frontage waiver application is to exempt 3 lots in a 7-lot subdivision from the minimum 10% frontage requirement. Staff have reviewed the application based on the provincial guidance criteria and recommend issuance of the frontage waiver. Staff are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I will note, directors, that we have a supplementary map that's being provided because it wasn't 100% clear in the report where the frontage was on lots 7, 6 after the turnaround. But I believe the answer is that King Road will be extended through across the fronts of lots 6 and 7. Is that correct?
My understanding is that there's an existing gravel access from the north end of King Road, and that existing gravel access will remain to access Lot 7. Lot 6, I believe, will be accessed from the top of the cul-de-sac.
Gotcha, I see now. So that's where the frontage is for lot 6. Okay. Any further questions? Anyone? Well, I'm the Area E Director, so I'd like to move the staff recommendations on page whatchamacallit. That's page 20. And I see a seconder. Any further questions, discussions? Seeing none, I'm calling the question. All those in favor? And that passes. Thank you very much. Next up, payment in lieu of park for subdivision SD, many zeros 7.
So, the purpose of this report is to present a proposal for a payment in lieu of park dedication for a 7-lot subdivision in accordance with Section 510 of the Local Government Act. Staff have received and reviewed an appraisal and recommend that the proposed amount be accepted. Staff are available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. And perhaps you could just remind us what happens to the payments that we collect. Do they go into a park acquisition fund?
Through the chair, thanks for the question. Yeah, that's correct.
Right. Thank you very much. Any questions from my esteemed colleagues? Seeing no questions, I have no questions on this one either, so I will move the recommendations on page 25. Seconded. Nothing further? Okay. All in favor? And that passes. Thank you very much. And next up, we have the minutes, and I am just going to go quickly through by area to see if there's any business arising from the minutes of the APCs. So, first up, 4.6 Area A, Director Lee, is there anything?
No, the one recommendation was relaxing, and we accepted it, so nothing more.
Thank you. Area B.
Question? Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question, because during the APC meeting, it was pointed out that there was a wetland in one of the cut blocks, and I'm wondering if staff kind of looked into it and maybe incorporated it, because it didn't seem to be on the radar at the time, but has this now been added to staff's radar?
GM Hall.
Thank you, Chair. So along with the board's resolution regarding the BC Timber Sales Operating Plan referral, comments from APCs were forwarded to BCTS before the comment deadline of August 4th, with a note that they represented the advice of APCs that had not yet proceeded to a committee or board meeting, and staff are in process of hearing back from BCTS on feedback based on those submissions. Thanks.
I'll just ask a follow-up. Do we have any idea when we might hear back from BCTS?
Thank you, Chair. We have a meeting set for later in September, and at that point, we may hear more about feedback timeline. Thanks.
Which could come to either an EAS or a COW. Okay, thank you very much. Next, Area D.
Thank you. And segueing into that Area D, there's also my APC recommended that we include salmon habitat in our letter to BC Timber Sales. I was wondering if that was, if there's been any action on that. It's, sorry, yeah, bottom of page 39, recommendation number 1.
Staff.
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, I should be going through the chair.
I believe that this comment was forwarded to BC Timber Sales, but taking note that it suggests an edit to letters, I will have to follow up on whether there's additional work required relating to letters to ministers.
Okay.
Thanks.
One more question. I was wondering, so I read the minutes of my APC and I try to attend the meetings when I can. I was wondering who in this room, staff and board included, read the minutes of these. Is it the planning department that goes over? Would the general manager of planning read these minutes?
I think the process is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the minutes, the draft minutes are reviewed by the corporate officer. And then when they're deemed accurate, they are passed on to the planning department. Is that, and they go on our corporate officer, rescue me.
Thank you. Yes, they're submitted to the planning department and the planners put their comments in and then they come to legislative services before they go forward on an agenda. So they would go through the planning department first and the planners would have first review.
Before these minutes arrived on this agenda?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And, GM Hall?
Thank you, Chair. I think, if I may offer to you, Chair, based on the wording of this recommendation, it could be helpful to have a resolution to prepare such letters if that's the will of the committee. And I say that because they relate to letters to the province from SCRD. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Gabius.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe you can elucidate that. Would that letter come from the board? Or would that letter come from, this seems like a political, like an advocacy letter to me. So would this be a board written letter or a staff letter?
Corporate officer.
Thank you, Chair. I think the process here would be, so staff, we wouldn't action any of these recommendations before they came to board, other than bringing the comments forward as previously agreed. So now that it's before you here in committee, it's your opportunity to make a recommendation for action. So that would be up to the committee to recommend whether a letter should be written from the chair. And then that would go forward to board and we would action it there if it were adopted.
Thank you. So then the full board could discuss the recommendation.
Correct.
Which would be appropriate. Director Pax.
So would it be appropriate for me to make a motion to forward recommendation number 1 to the board for consideration?
Yes, so in effect, what you're doing is you're pulling this recommendation and it will appear in the committee minutes and it will go forward to the board in that format.
Very good. I would like to make that recommendation.
And is there a seconder? I see a seconder. Okay. That seems pretty straightforward. I'm calling the question. All those in favor? Great. And we can have a discussion about that at board. Director Lee?
Thank you, Chair. I think my earlier assumption could be incorrect in that on page 33, my APC made a recommendation number 2 that their concerns previously raised about the visual impact of logging in Jervis Inlet be reiterated to BCTS. I would guess that from this discussion, I'm going to have to make a motion similar to Director Bax to get that actioned. So,
I'm just going to ask GM Hall if that has already been passed on to BCTS.
Thank you for the opportunity to clarify, Chair. Comments that are, I guess, technical and focused on BCTS have been passed to BC Timber Sales. The Area D APC recommendation, staff recommended further action because it related to a letter to the province from the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's pretty clear.
thank you, Chair.
Okay, I'm up to my APC. I just wanted to say that I would really appreciate if the feedback that we got from staff, that all of these comments have been sent to BC Timber Sales, be given to our APCs in writing, because they often make these recommendations and they're not sure what happens to them. So I really appreciate it if it's too late for the agendas because they've already gone out, but if it could be included in an email so that they know that they were heard. Okay, next up, Area F.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and I'll follow up on your comments, Director McMahon, too. And when Director Stamford and I did the agenda review here, she had similar concerns as to what exactly is the mechanism for follow-up, especially in regards to BCTS, and noted that there are overall throughout all of these APC minutes, there's 8 recommendations total. And what is that mechanism for tracking, and how do the directors find out what happened? And more importantly, how do the APCs find out? Because it's obvious that that was a great deal of discussion at all APCs regarding BCTS, and recommendations came forward. So
Thank you.
what is the tracking mechanism? Can there be for something as important, obviously, as this operations plan, can there be something that directors can reference and say, okay, what happened, and go back to the APCs with that?
Thank you. Over to our corporate officer.
Thank you, Chair. So as part of some of the changes we're making around APCs, we do have a new standing item that is coming forward on the agendas, and it's going to come under business arising from minutes, and it involves staff reporting back to the APCs on precisely this, what has happened with their feedback and their recommendations. So that will be a standing item at every meeting, and we will report back on that.
Great, and that will be reflected in the minutes of the meeting so that we've got the written record as well. That's good. Thank you very much. So I think we're done with all the APC minutes. Next up on our agenda is an item of correspondence from Connect the Coast Society. And I am just going to look to Director Gabius.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And this is I'm very grateful for Connect the Coast, all the research and work they're doing. This is a really interesting opportunity for funding, something that might have not been on our radar. So I'm really grateful that they've brought this up to our attention. Now, we're going to UBCM. We're going to have opportunity to do some networking, some maybe advocacy. We're unfortunately not able to meet with Mott this time around. But I'm wondering what would be the proper steps to explore this further? How do we, what are the next steps if we want to advocate to Mott for this project, which is, I think I'm going to speak well, for myself, but I think from past conversations that we've had, we're in support of this project. We obviously need some help, and we don't have the capacity to make that happen on our own. So this seems like a really good opportunity to get Mott involved. But yeah, what would be the next steps to explore this opportunity? I don't know if staff knows a little bit about this, or if we should set up a meeting with Mott to get to know a little bit more about this funding stream, or...
I'm going to look over to our CAO.
Thank you, Chair. So a little bit of evolving circumstances with UBCM and our meeting requests with the Ministry of Transportation. So we made some requests to staff which were denied. And so what they've come back with is an offer to meet after UBCM related to some of the items that we submitted, in addition to the subsequent items that are evolving, New Brighton Dock and Connect the Coast being the two emerging items. So we will hear after UBCM, and I think the positive thing is that UBCM, you have a very limited time frame. So if we meet after UBCM, we'll probably have a little more time to meet with our Ministry of Transportation staff. So thank you.
So a question for me, do we need to do anything further? Do we need to pass a motion that we would like staff to pursue a meeting with MOTT on this topic and the other ones that we identified, or is it in process?
I would advocate yes, because then there's record of it. And so if we look back in the records, that we see that this is the next step that we see with this particular item, and signaling to the public how we're moving forward with it.
Thank you. Is a motion being drafted? I see a motion being drafted, but I'm just going to give it a minute. Give it a shot. Hang on. Director Nguyen.
Thank you, Chair. I'd note in the communication from this group that they mention a draft letter that would have been in and attached to their letter, but of support. But I didn't see that in the agenda package. Would there be information in that would be pertinent to
may
this
be
discussion?
Yeah, but I think we need to have the meeting, and we need to look over what we would say to MOTT before we publish in an agenda. So, yeah, I'm just going to say that there are a lot of issues with our highway, but there are particular pinch points where there is no alternate route, and the existing route is extremely unsafe, like through Elphinstone. And much as I appreciate the dropping of the speed limit and the 2 crosswalks that are going in, that doesn't make the shoulder any wider. And the shoulder is scary. Been on that shoulder. I've lived to tell the tale, but it feels like a near thing. So I'm going to look to Director Gabius.
Okay, let's see here. Moving that staff schedule a meeting with MOTT staff to discuss the Connect the Coast project and and active transportation capital program. I don't know. Does that kind of...
Is this a staff-to-staff meeting, or is this a meeting with electeds? Because we are doing advocacy, and that's kind of our lane. Over to CAO.
Thank you. We were wondering the same thing, because we believe that elected officials should be at this meeting. How Mott chooses, I would advocate that you do meet with a minister, because we have, as staff, tried staff to staff, and I think it has to come up the food chain, please.
Okay, so we should request a meeting with the minister. Wow, that's good. I always like meeting with ministers. Do you want to try a new version of the motion?
So I guess I could just swap that, the board chair schedule a meeting?
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah, do it.
The SCRD request meeting with the Minister of MOTT to discuss the Connect the Coast project and other infrastructure concerns on the Sunshine Coast. That should leave it broad enough. Do I have a seconder? I have a seconder, Director Gabius, Director Lee.
I think the actual issue is that there's grant money available, but the only people that can apply for it is MOT. And therefore, our advocacy should be to meet with our local representatives and encourage them to apply for grants to further the establishment of the roadside pathways on the Sunshine Coast. If we want to name specific ones, I think I'm okay with that too, but I think the most important thing is to get MOT to start applying for the grants and us making it very clear that we want that done.
I'm wondering if we're looking at two separate meetings. And I'm just going to, does staff have any further thoughts on that topic?
Well, getting a first one is our first goal. If they honor us with the second one, that's great. I think we just have to be very specific as to what it is we're asking for and come very, so I would say, related to infrastructure, but I think we have to be specific related to active transportation or whatever those are. But we most certainly can expand in our letter to the ministers.
Yes, I would be willing to amend my motion to say active transportation infrastructure. That, I think that's still pretty broad and addresses some of our most urgent concerns. Not that we have a lack of concerns. Yeah. All right. There's people have been waving at me and I've not been paying attention. I'm sorry. Director Bax, you're next.
That's okay, Chair. I just think that in this instance, if we can get as far up the chain as possible, that would be good, but also to include our local representative as someone who can carry the ball. So if we can get Michael Braun in the room with some of his superior bureaucrats, then and ask them to try to leverage these grants for our active transportation corridor, then I think we'll have a better chance of success.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table. I don't want to muddy the waters any further, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? That passes. Thank you very much. This does not mean it's the only thing we're going to do, but it's a step in the right direction to try to address some of our chronic challenges. For instance, as I believe Director Lee has pointed out, there isn't like a capital infrastructure replacement schedule for our roads for the Sunshine Coast. They're old, and they're I mean, we're, as an organization, trying really hard to do capital plans. And so we would also like to see some plans coming down from above. So Director Gabius.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And I think, we do. I think there was a couple of meetings there that we could do. One higher up to talk about the vision, talk about we have a great opportunity because that highway study report came out, and improving active transportation, widened shoulders, that's part of the broader plan. So to kind of sell that vision and then maybe go down to the regional staff level, I think, there's two opportunities there that we could pursue. Exciting stuff.
Okay, thank you. We have run out of agenda. We have nothing further on the agenda, plus no in-camera today. So I'm going to look for a motion to adjourn. Moved, seconded, all in favor. We are adjourned, and now I will ask if there are any public questions. Okay, you need to come up to the mic.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Randy Verhulst, the King Road development owner. I'd like to thank you very much for passing the two items for my frontage waiver and the parkland money. Also like to thank Ian Hall and Nick Copes and Sven Kovowitz for helping me get through this final set of steps to get to this stage. So according to the flow chart in the agenda here, it says that after the approvals, there's the subdivision approval is the final stage. So what is the next step for my situation to have SCRD completely finished with the approval process?
And thank you for the question, and I'm going to ask staff to talk to you about this after the meeting, because I'm no expert in this area.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Okay.